As a core member, you're complaining about Uber. Egg is not a problem. I understand. Yes, eggs expensive and all that. But as a core member, you're talking about Uber. You're supposed to live within your means. My sincere sympathy.
So you're saying because she's a core member, she shouldn't have the right to enter Uber?
Oh, why not?
So
No, you can take a private jet,
so
please. Excuse me. You can take a private jet, all right? If you can afford it, that's all right. But it shouldn't be a public issue to say you're complaining about. I mean,
but do you think this situation is the same for youths abroad that have their basic access? They will not say because you are a youth abroad, you cannot enter a private car. Because the standard is lower when it comes to Nigeria.
Like I said, there is no gold medal for who suffer most. Yeah? Poverty is not a gold medal to be won. However, you live within your means. You cannot expect you to live at the level your father will live, for instance. You understand? And she said she's living this adult life for the first time and all of that. My sympathy about that. However, it is, things are hard, but I'm only looking at the nitty-gritty of it. You should complain about egg, that's all right. But talking about Uber, excuse me, please. I served in Kano. I was working for the state government. Apart from my allowance, I'm not talking about 1924, I'm talking about 2014. Apart from my allowance, which was 18,000 naira from NYSC, the only money I was getting was 1,200 naira. Don't tell me, maybe 1,200 naira I can buy a car that time. No. Now, as of that time, my transport daily to work, to a return trip, was 270 naira. And I still wanted to serve. You know what I did? I went to go and buy a bicycle. It was so bad that I could not post a picture online because my family must never see I was riding bicycle on the road. I was competing, right? Kano, Maiduguri way. I was competing with trailer. And with all of that, I survived beautifully. I served the state. The governor of Kano State today cannot see me and say he doesn't know me because we have interacted before when I was
from all these things you're saying, I would say you're almost contradicting yourself because you said there's no award for poverty, but now you're glorifying.
I'm not. No. But the message is simple. Okay. Live within your means. There are core members that could afford to go in JLK. There is nothing wrong about that. There are core members that they can afford even convoy. There's nothing wrong about that.
I wouldn't even say Uber is too much. I wouldn't say Uber is even too much.
It's relative. Take for instance, I can afford to take Uber to anywhere I want to go. I can afford to probably ride 2-3 cars if I want. Do you understand? But for instance, when I was serving as a core member, I cannot even afford a motorcycle. I can't now be complaining that Uber is wrong. No. You understand? Okay, by the way, when you're going to serve, there are many of our colleagues who came by flight. As of those years, I've never thought the tail of a plane in my life. Do you understand? Now I'll be complaining, they posted me to Kano, but cost of flight is very expensive. No, it's not my language as of that time because I don't operate at that level. So we don't start growing from the tree. There are what you call basic needs, please. She complained about food, fantastic. Please, I have to emphasize this so that the government doesn't get things wrong as if someone is holding brief for them. The government is performing poorly. No story about that. However, when we're going to pass message to leadership, take for instance, I'm open and I'm happy when people confront people in leadership because whatever makes them our leader also makes them our servants. Tinubu is living on a borrowed right. He borrowed my right, he borrowed your right to become president. He has the same stake in Nigeria the same way I have. Now, you don't have somebody you employ and your servant, your housemaid and all of that, and then you send him to market to go and do something for you because that's what Tinubu is doing. And then he comes back on the market and you stand up to greet him. I really don't see much in president entry and then you're standing up and down. You understand? He's our servant. He's supposed to serve us. If he's not doing well, we let him know he's not doing well. But excuse me, we don't insult him. Is somebody's father.
Now, based on that, for instance, Jeff was speaking about that, and she said, when she said he's a terrible president, she wasn't necessarily insulting him as a person, but he was speaking to the office of responsibility, and that in that office of responsibility, you are not doing well.
Very simple. Can I ask you, how about saying, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are doing very poorly? That would have been very correct.
But we all know Tinubu is the president. So if you say Tinubu, you don't have to add president.
No,
when you
look
say
at
Tinubu,
the difference is
our
not,
mind goes to the president.
The difference I'm making is not the name. It's not the mention of the name. The president, you are performing poorly. That's performance evaluation, and you have the right. Because you employed him.
She said, Tinubu, you are a terrible president. She didn't say you are a terrible person.
Excuse me. Can you define what is the basis for being terrible? Whether he's talking about his personality or his being or his performance, we don't know. But
You
can
said
you
president.
But look at the word terrible. My emphasis on the word terrible, not the president. It's okay. You can call him anything you like. You understand? You can call him Jagaban if you want. Now, the word terrible, it's quite ambiguous. And when words are used ambiguously, you leave it to the hearers to attribute whatever meaning it means to them. What when you say terrible? I mean, if I say you are terrible now, whether it's your performance or the way you're interviewing me, or whether the way you look, we don't know. And whatever you think I've said is what I said. You understand? What matters in conversation and spoken English, spoken grammar, is the understanding of the person hearing it, not what you said. So it's quite ambiguous. How about say, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are performing poorly? We'll clap for her. I will clap for her because she has the right to evaluate the president.
All right. Thank you so much for that interesting perspective. Let me come to Jeff. I don't know if you have any comments on that. Of course, Adedoyin has made some very strong points. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I am so happy that you are coming to me first, not to Mr. Taufik, because I almost jumped off my seat when when he was speaking.
Okay.
Whenever somebody began speaking and said, "I am not holding brief for this person," there is a conflict of interest somewhere. Take it or leave it. We are talking about individuals who you can't push me and show me where to fall. You can't beat me and tell me how I should cry if my voice is too loud. You can't do that. That is exactly what the person you have in the studio is telling Rita to do. Rita was complaining about the economic hardship in the country. And then somebody is telling her that, no, you should have used a subtle language. Mind you, the language she used was, as I said before, was addressing the responsibility of the president, which I see nothing wrong in it. Let me say this. There are some points that I want to talk about. Number one is the NYC has no business whatsoever what this lady did. They have no business. This lady is out of the orientation camp, number one. Secondly, she's talking about something that encompasses Nigeria as a whole. Then we have an NYC official who came to threaten her. And then I ask you a question. In 2023, we have about over 100 core members abducted somewhere in the north. It took them 1 year before they were released in 2024. If these NYC officials know how to issue threats, why did they not threaten the terrorists that kidnapped these people? Why did they not threaten them to get them released? They didn't do that. Secondly, we are talking about a smelling Lagos state. See, it is high time we begin to call a spade a spade. We should stop all this, sweet talking, certain things. It is high time. I have been to Lagos state. I came back from Lagos 2 months ago. I lived in Lagos, for some time. Lagos is smelling. Once you move beyond, once you are ascending from the Lekki Ikoyi bridge, and then you are coming to the mainland, from Oroshoki downwards, everywhere is smelling. You go to Akoka, the university opposite is smelling. You go to Lasu, opposite Lasu is smelling. So when a place is smelling, when somebody issue out something and say, look, that what I'm sensing here is bad governance, what you are supposed to do as the leader is to listen and say, how can I make it better? How can I make Lagos not to smell, not to begin to attack? Then thirdly, he was saying that it is not a military regime that we are in. Let me point out some facts to you. The first PRO, Muyiwa Adejobi, I hope I got the name right, on Twitter, which is now X, he issued out a statement saying that anyone from now henceforth that attack or insult, whatever insult, I don't know who will define what an insult is now, insult a political leader, that person will be arrested. We thought it was a joke. We started seeing people who make some dissenting comments being arrested and prosecuted. We saw it. It happened, right? So you cannot live in a society that has begun to move like this and you say, no, you are not in a military regime. We are actually in a heavy military regime. Now, I asked a question the other time. When with the NYSC scheme, begin to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage that they are supposed to pay to these corpers. Up till now, they are still paying them 33,000 naira. How much can 33,000 naira do for you? I am at my home right now. I returned from Lagos 2 months ago. While I went to Lagos, I was paying, when I buy a unit of 5,000, I get 84.2 units. Now, I buy 15,000 naira unit, I get 66.6 units. So in 6 days, I spent 15,000 naira, meaning that in a month, I spent over 60,000 naira. In a house that I regulate everything that comes, that regards light or usage of light as a whole. I am not talking about the amount I spend every day in fueling my car. So are you now saying that we should not demand for the bare minimum in terms of basic amenities in this country? So all of a sudden, having electricity, all of a sudden, getting food in the market that is within a certain range in prices are now luxury for us. We cannot be a society that considers these basic things as luxury. We cannot be a society like that. It is very wrong if we do that. Because, see, the time has gone where I'm not saying you should you should start insulting anybody, no. But the time has gone when we will be so diplomatic, when we will be genuflecting before these people, whereas we know that they are eating us dry. The same president that is asking us to be patient, was he patient when he demanded a new jet to be purchased for him? Was he patient when he spent 21 billion naira for the vice president accommodation, a place that the previous vice president Osibanjo just left? Were they patient? Those in the House of Assembly and the Senate, were they patient? Just the other day, El-Rufai's son was asking them, if we are asking to buy new things, is it that every year we buy a new pen, every year we buy a new table, but they keep budgeting for those things. So we are a people who have been subjugated, who have been subdued, and then they say we cannot talk. It is wrong. For some point in this conversation, I love the way we are going, because it seems that everyone is also tired of the inefficiency of governance of government in this country. But hearing the person you have in the studio speak in the manner for which he speak and continue to put a caveat that he's not holding brief for the government, absolutely, my heart pains me to hear that.